Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator. And in today's episode, we are going to be going over my current 2022 top mods, add-ons, and tools for MSFS. So stick around guys, because hopefully you'll find something that's interesting to you. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides for Microsoft Flight Simulator, please consider joining me on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future updates and future guides that will be coming down the road. Link to Patreon can be found in the description below. Okay guys, so jumping right into it, I do want to give you guys a heads up. Links will be in the description for everything, as well as timestamps, assuming I remember to do it. I always have like the worst time remembering to set up my timestamps. However, links to everything will be down in the description below. Now, as far as how I'm prioritizing this, there is no rhyme or reason to the order, okay? This is not like a top 10 in sequence. It is just the tools, add-ons, etc. that I like to use currently for Microsoft Flight Simulator that helps me get the most out of each performance. So, without any further delay, let's go ahead and get started with number 1. So first up, as silly as it may sound, is Flightsim.to's website. I actually have ran into more than one person recently who is unaware this website even exists, and which is totally fine. That means you're probably new to mods and add-ons for MSFS, and you really haven't, dug very deep into it. But I figured I would at least point out a few things that I do want to recommend that you guys do. First off, make sure you create a profile on Flightsim.to's website. It doesn't cost you anything. I don't get any spam mail, anything like that. They're obviously not soliciting my email address off to other revenue sources, nothing like that. I don't get any junk mail from them. What I do get is a couple of really handy tools. So after I download something, I can come here and go to my downloads. And this is probably my favorite part. If you're someone who really likes to be able to keep up on your mods and add-ons that you currently have, and you want to make sure that you have the latest version of said downloads, you can come here and you guys can see now I have downloaded a ton, hundreds by now, if not more. So obviously I don't use all of these, but this is a very, very nice tool for those of you who aren't content creators and are sitting there reviewing these left and right, but have a very specific list of things that you want to do. You can come down and look at this page and see if there is a newer version of the mod or add-on that you're trying to use. Now, let's say I did want to go through and clean these up, okay? Let me just pick one random here. Let's just delete this top one. I can remove this one, the F-35 enhancement, which we'll be talking about in a later video, if I wanted to, and boom, now that list is gone. So if you get to a point where there are mods or add-ons that you stop wanting to use, you can simply just come over here, click on them, and boom, they're removed from your list. So this is a very, very nice tool that they didn't have to include in a website. It's really nice to see that they actually put that effort into it, because it makes it a lot easier for us being the end user to manage, well, what have I downloaded, what have I not downloaded, and then obviously staying up to date. And then here you can click on up to date and it shows again everything that I've downloaded in the past that is currently still up to date. Like I said, you don't even want to see these lists, they're ridiculous. And then you can have everything here that you can sort everything out, right? Mark everything as updated or remove everything. Now, why would you want to mark everything as updated? So if we're in this list here and we've already gone through it and everything that's currently maybe outdated, we don't want to get alerted on, but maybe we want to get alerted on the next release, then you can mark everything and it will filter that. And then now moving forward, any new release that comes out, we'll see, we'll get an alert again. So really freaking handy for a website of this nature, given the fact that there are so many mods, add-ons, and things like that on Flightsim.to's website that you have to watch for. It is a really impressive website. It is fun sometimes just spending like a lunch break or something like that going through this and just seeing what new mods and add-ons are coming out today. If you go back to the home page, just simply click up on the brand up here. The way they have it organized is so nice. You have new uploads, boom. And if you want to view more, you'll get all the new uploads. Okay, I think right now it just shows you the top, X amount right here. Trending mods, what's going on? These are all, here we go, like this is what I was looking for. Trending, this week's best, last updated. Last updated, I follow a lot, but again, that's something that my downloads will help you with as well. So anyway, I wanted to make sure to point that out in case you guys weren't aware of it. Let's go ahead and move on to the next. Next on our list here is the Addons Linker. This is probably the most critical following where you get your add-ons and tools for managing your mods and add-ons. The thing that I love the most about the way this particular application works is its convenience and ability to structure your mods and add-ons in a way that makes sense to you. So for example, I have this directory here. This is my gaming drive, okay? Microsoft Flight Simulator. I created a folder, and then inside the Microsoft Flight Simulator folder that I created, I have all this. There's my packages, where my community and official is, and then we have our different softwares. Applications. These are all the third-party applications that I currently use with Microsoft Flight Simulator, and we'll be going through a few of them today. And then here's my add-ons, and this is everything we're seeing here. So aircraft liveries. Backing out a little bit here, we have aircraft. There's my aircraft. Okay, so it makes it really, really nice to structure them, is the first part, and then turning them on and off. I love this. You can create. I'm going to be touching this very high level here, guys, because you can create profiles and different what's the word I'm looking for? Presets. Thank you. Gosh, the words right there that I'm looking for. You can create different presets based on what you want to do, and I will cover that in a much later video. I need to go do an in-depth tutorial of this, but this is a fantastic application. Makes managing your mods and add-ons. So there, the TBM 930 improvement mod is now removed. There, now it's brought back. It also alerts you if you are trying to launch it while the sim is running, etc., etc. I mean, just has a ton of really nice features. You can categorize things however you want, which, as we were seeing before on Flightsim.to's website, these mods and add-ons and sceneries can get out of control very, very quickly. And what started out as something fun, you're modding, you're creating new sceneries or adding new sceneries to your sim, adding all these new features. What started out as something fun and exciting can very quickly turn into a headache if you do not figure out a very easy way to manage them early on. Because, again, what started as downloading one aircraft will soon turn to 26. What started as one scenery will soon turn to hundreds. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And this is probably the best program I've seen as far as managing them. As far as I can tell, you can have as many folder deeps as you want. There's no limit as far as I can tell, but I haven't really had to dive very deep in it. But like, for example, when I do my sceneries, let's jump in here. I'll break it down first by country, from country to state, and then state, depending on what I'm doing and how anal I feel like being, we'll get all the way down to city and further define the location. So it's a really, really great tool, really, really fantastic development. I've been following this since the start of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I swear by it, and I don't think anything could ever make me leave Addons Linker. So again, link down in the description. Be sure to check this out if you're interested in mods, tools, and add-ons for MSFS. Okay, moving forward with our list, we have Navigraph Charts. Now, Navigraph Charts does require a paid subscription. For Navigraph.com, by all means, go there and take a look at the pricing and see if that's something that you would be interested in. However, the reason why that this particular application is on our list is if you have the WorkingTitle G3000 installed, there is integration with Navigraph Charts, so you can have these charts populate directly in your aircraft MFD. Obviously very cool. Now, I still prefer the desktop app, but it really depends on what your monitor situation is like. If you're running on a single screen, then the in-flight integration is obviously very, very nice. But you can also put this on a tablet, an iPad, even on your phone if you wanted to. Now, where this is come in handy is obviously you have access to your STARS, standard terminal arrival routes, your approaches, your SIDs, standard instrument departures, different reference charts, taxi charts that we're looking at here. You have all your gate numbers. And what's really cool, I don't have the sim launched right now, but if I was in the simulator, and let's say I had in the sim, I was in my, the A320 parked at, gate F10 here or something like that, you would actually see a pink triangle right here indicating where my aircraft is. And as we taxi along, you'll say we were going up Victor, up to Mike, you would actually see our little pink yellow crawling up Victor here over to up to Mike. So it's a really, really awesome tool. And that goes for the stars. If you're on a particular star, let's say, I don't know, we're flying out of the FOE2 here. You would see your aircraft on the chart itself, so you can have a real good idea of where the aircraft is. This makes approaches significantly easier to sort of learn how to do, because you get that visual reference of where the aircraft is. Let's say we're coming in on ILS approach here. Okay, we would actually see the aircraft rolling in here. Okay, as we're coming in, like let's say we're coming in from here, from 124, you would actually see the aircraft hit on the on each of these points, and then it makes reading this much easier as you have that visual reference of where the aircraft is. Therefore, you know what altitude you should be at, and so forth. It is a really, really handy tool if you're someone who enjoys flying IFR, especially. Now VFR, again, still got plenty of applications where it comes in handy, especially with the taxi routes and the airport charts if you're not very familiar with the airport itself. But IFR flights, I swear by it. This and our next one. And that next one being Simbrief.com. Simbrief is what I use to create my flight plans. Now, you want to register for it. Now, it is owned by Navigraph now. However, Simbrief does not require any kind of paid subscription. So don't let that throw you off. Navigraph, to have access to Navigraph Charts and the game data installer, there is a paid subscription. For Simbrief by Navigraph, there is no pay requirement. Now, the other reason why you would want that, and we'll actually talk about that in a second, is for the AirAC cycle, but we'll talk about that in just a second. So you register here, okay? Then we're going to go to, we're just going to a real quick flight plan, okay? Actually, I wanted to go to the dispatch system. Let's go to dispatch system. We're going to go create new flight. Now I'm going to make this very, very fast, very, very generic, okay? You would put in your flight number, so American Airlines. You can see it saves your last few. 4310 is our flight number. And we're going to depart from Phoenix over to, what do we got here? Sure, Tucson. Why not? It's going to be the shortest flight in history, but it actually is a real flight, believe it or not. And we're going to fly the A320 Flybywire profile. And then we can go, let's see here, IFR flight. We're going to want at least 45 minutes of reserve fuel on board. We have our climb profile. We're going to climb out to 250 knots until 10,000 feet, accelerating to 300. And then once we switch from airspeed to Mach, we're going to climb out at Mach 0.78. And then coming down here, we're going to select our departure runway. We're departing out of Phoenix on runway 08, coming in on 29er right in Tucson. We can change that if necessary. Extra fuel. This is if you want extra fuel beyond the reserve fuel that comes with an IFR flight. Okay, and I've gone through a bunch of different tutorials for Simbrief, so by all means, check those out as well. And then here's our route that we were talking about with Navigraph. So with Navigraph, there's our SID, there's our star. So if we had Navigraph Charts, we'd be able to look at that. Now, if you do have the Navigraph paid subscription, you get the latest real-world AirAC cycle. So basically, the currently used real-world flight plans that pilots are using across the world. Okay, so that's really, really awesome. If you really want to get down and deep into that immersion, I highly recommend that because it is nice. Now, Microsoft Flight Simulator is really good about updating. About once a month, they're updating the AirAC data within the simulator. Okay, but if you want the simulator and the flight plan that you create in here to match, you're going to want to make sure this is still up to date. Okay? Okay, and then from here, you would hit Generate Flight, hit Yes. I'm going to walk you guys through this real quick, and then we're going to move on to the next here. Okay, from here, you have all of that same information available. You can mouse through. This is the OFP, the Operational Flight Plan. This is what even a real-world one looks like. And they give you this awesome tutorial. If you've never read one of these before, you can click that link that I just clicked here. So coming back, I know I did that fast. Right here, how do I read this flight plan? And you can literally mouse over any section and it tells you what it is. And I'll let you guys go through that on your own time if you choose. But again, very, very awesome tool, especially if you are brand new to flight simulation of this nature. And then you can print and view a PDF, which I swear by these. I do every single one of my flights like this. I always pull this up. And the nice thing about like the Flybywire A320 is with the Flybywire A320 is there is a Simbrief integration. So this exact OFP that we're looking at right here, we can have this populate in the FlyPad on the in the A320 for Microsoft Flight Simulator. So really, really awesome integrations. So I wanted to make sure that I got Simbrief on the list today, because Simbrief and Navigraph Charts are really nice when you have them side by side. Let's move on to the next one. All right, so we've spoken about how to get the most out of your simulator with mods and add-ons. We've talked about how to plan some IFR flights with some really cool tools. Now let's talk about how I actually fly my aircraft, and that is with Spad.Next. Now, make sure that you guys check out the link in the description for this one, because there's a couple of different payment options. It is a payware software, but it is really freaking awesome, and it works with X-Plane 11. It works with Microsoft Flight Simulator, obviously P3D, has a ton of different integrations. It is extremely handy if you're someone who's interested in either making a custom cockpit, or maybe you're wanting to build your own control boxes, your own switch boxes and things like that. This is very, very awesome. Or if you're someone who's just like me, and at this point, okay, so let me back up. My personal reason for using this is that I don't particularly like the in-game control methodology behind or Microsoft Flight Simulator. Okay, the control schemes, I just don't like it. I don't like the UI. I don't like the way you have to wait a lot of times for your profile to load. Call me impatient, whatever you want. You're probably right when it comes down to it. I'm willing to own that. But this software, you can create a bunch of different profiles. So these TM indicates Thrustmaster for me, because I have the Thrustmaster Warthog. So a Thrustmaster Complex, Simple, my TBM, Twin Jet, Twin Complex. I have a helicopter profile that, I think I combine that with the TBM now. But you guys catch what I'm doing here. Controls, you can have, here's my Class Echo. If you guys are interested in that, I actually will be talking about that here in just a minute. But I do recommend checking that out. But it integrates with it very, very nicely, makes a ton of different things possible. If you like those digital gauges you can find on Amazon, Spad.Next is going to be one of those softwares that allows you to integrate that very seamlessly. Again, we have Arduino as an option here. You can see all the different controls that it picks up. You can set different functionality for the button, whether it be a short press, a long press, a hold press, a release. All that functionality comes with this. You can set up different repeat methods, meaning do you want it to repeat for X amount of seconds? It goes on and on. This is an extremely capable, extremely robust software for its price. And I do want to make sure that you guys check out the pricing points on the website. Again, link down the description. It is a very, very, very amazing piece of software for flight simulation. And it's now, I know, also being used with like a American Truck Simulator as well. So don't let the price, it is, for some it may look a little high, but I am telling you that the functionality of this software is well worth the price, and it goes way beyond what I have even done with it. And I swear by Spad.Next now. Absolutely swear by it. I personally just paid the lifetime price. I think it was like $60 US. It really wasn't terrible for what I got out of it. I don't have to worry about fighting with Microsoft Flight Simulator's controls anymore. I don't have to worry about dealing with some of the weird bugs and things that we've had happen with Microsoft Flight Simulator before. I don't have to worry about if, for whatever reason it can't connect to my profile, it can't, load my control scheme, etc., etc., etc. So there's a lot of great benefits that come with a third-party application controlling your controls. And then, of course, like I said, the third-party development. So anyway, I wanted to make sure that this one hit the list. Let's move on to the next. And the next item on our list is a control. Now, this is a do-it-yourself kit as it shows here, and you got to make it real sure, getting this out right in the beginning, that you read all of this, as it tells you everything that you require to still buy. There are further purchases. My total out of pocket, because I had some of the tech stuff already here, was about $150. I think someone who said they built it from scratch without having any tools in the house was like $180. Now, I'm going to stress, guys, that especially if you are someone who does not have a ton of space, this thing is fantastic. And we're going to be doing another review later on this week with the latest firmware update that now integrates significantly well with the A320 from Flybywire. But I'm going to go through a couple screenshots here, guys. There we go. So you got some video play here. This is from the developer himself. I'm just going to leave this on the screen. It'll probably loop a few times, but you guys can check it out. It is really, really fantastic. And again, if you are someone who is very limited on desk space, this is killer. Absolutely killer. Now, one requirement, Spad.Next is requirement. So let's back up a little bit here, being completely fair. Between hardware and software requirements, you're probably looking at more $230 US out the door. Okay. But again, that depends on what your purchase scheme is or choice is for Spad.Next. But I cannot stress enough how much space this will save you if you're someone who runs into issues with space. I cannot stress enough how awesome that this is sitting on top of the Honeycomb Alpha yoke, which it's designed to sit on top of. You can also put it on top of the Bravo, or do your own custom configuration. But just take a look at some of these screenshots. Make sure you guys check out the link down the description below so you get an idea for yourself of what it does. I have a YouTube video on it. I'll try to remember to put a link to the description or a link to that video so you guys can see it in action. But it is a really, really nice piece of equipment. It is really spectacular. I have been so grateful to have it, and I don't even have it mounted yet. I typically, when I use mine, I just pick it up with my hand and do what I want to do with it. But everything from frame rate, game rate, or a sim play rate. So if you want to increase the sim time, you can do that. And then obviously all of the aircraft controls themselves. I mean, it's a really, really neat control, and it's like night and day again, especially for anyone who is limited on space, or like someone like myself where you're constantly swapping in and out. I don't use my Honeycomb or Bravo as much as I used to anymore, because I bounce back and forth so much. I still fly DCS when I get a chance. DCS is still my passion. I still love it. I have a great time. It's where the channel started. I don't make as much content with it anymore because mostly I'm just flying around blowing things up or making a fool of myself. But so being able to very quickly switch back and forth, not to mention my desk is also my 9 to 5 space as well. It really makes a big difference having so much diversity in my controls and so much flexibility with such a little box. Easy assembly, no soldering, full tech support. I reached out to the developer the first day, and in less than an hour he had responded to me. Now obviously he's going to sleep too, has family, etc., so that may not always be the case, but that's just to give you guys an idea that he does respond to me. He didn't know who I was at the time. So it's not like it was because Overkill's emailing me, not like I'm some great celebrity, but anyway, the easy assembly, no soldering, absolutely truth, fact. It took me, and he also on his website has a fantastic step-by-step YouTube video that you can follow, but I think total assembly time for me was about 35 minutes. It really wasn't bad at all. So it was really, really just a wonderful piece of equipment that I was very grateful to purchase. I know I've repeated myself a couple times on that one, but I know with this kind of hardware and the price point that we're talking about here, people probably hear $230 out the door and be like, well, not going to happen. But I'm telling you, the functionality you get from it is something to definitely think about it. I mean, right there, look at the trim indicator. The reason why I point the trim indicator out, the Cessna Citation Longitude, the only way that you can see what your trim setting is on that aircraft is by going to the external view and seeing it from the HUD. So again, more information. The wind, you get that right off the bat when you load into this in. There's your wind. If you're like me and you hate the in-game ATC, great tool to have. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue onward. Moving on with our list, we have the incredible products that are free from WorkingTitle. First, obviously, here you have the CJ4. You can click on the link here. It gives you all the information on the CJ4. But the bigger ones that I'm going to talk about, the G1000NXi, you can get from the Microsoft Flight Simulator Marketplace, as WorkingTitle has now teamed up with Asoba, which is fantastic. And then we have the big one here, which is the G3000 and the G3X. The G3000 is the avionics suite that is found, for example, in the TBM. Now, the other thing, and right there, guys, the other thing that people ask me a lot about is the Textron Aviation Cessna Citation Longitude. Now, the Longitude is technically the G5000, but you get all of the features you get with the G3000 in the G5000 suite when you install the WorkingTitle G3000. Highly recommend this, guys. It's a game changer, absolutely, 150%. If you like the any of the G1000, G3000 aircraft. I mean, I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't. You either want the G1000 NXI or you want the G3000 and the G3X. Make sure that all three of these are installed into your flight sim. Highly recommended. The CJ4, they took the CJ4 and did the same thing that Flybywire did with the A32NX. Just turned it into a monster of an aircraft, literally rebuilt the functionality from the ground up, and just turned it into something wonderful and beautiful for us simmers to enjoy. So I could talk all day long for the next 4 hours at least about the WorkingTitle products, but for this one, just take my word for it. It doesn't matter anything that's on this list here. Trust me when I say you want it. Okay? So let's go ahead and move on to the next. Next, not to be too short, but definitely they need to be on the list, is our Flybywire A32NX. If you enjoy the A320, if you want to fly the big commercial jets with inside Microsoft Flight Simulator, and you do not fly the A32NX, you are missing out to an extreme. You are missing out to functionality in the cockpit. You're missing out in the flight model, textures, sounds, immersion, you name it. If you are flying the A320 in Microsoft Flight Simulator and you're not using the A32NX, you are missing out on so much. These guys, they're rewriting the book when it comes to free aircraft. The A32NX is a free upgrade to the default A320 that literally brings this aircraft as close to real world simulation as we can get, and it's free. Same thing with the CJ4 that we saw with WorkingTitle. Flybywire did the same thing with the A320. I just hats off to them. I can't believe it sometimes that these products are free, and then yet we have some payware companies that shouldn't be charging what for them. So this is just amazing work. Again, it's a fantastic team. It's in constant development. If you follow, like, for example, the development version using the installer, you'll be updating just about every day. And then they have the stable release as well for those of you who don't want to be guinea pigs and testing out new features. Just really a ton of dedication again, and extreme enjoyment once you get the systems mastered. And I learn something new every time I fly the thing, and I wrote a guide on it. I have a tutorial PDF guide that you guys saw at the beginning of the video for this aircraft, and I learn something new every time. And again, it's in constant development. They're constantly changing things, just bringing it closer and closer to real world. It's a ton of fun to fly. It's cool when you grease the landings, and again, that was just made possible by these guys here. So anyway, if you haven't checked that out, make sure that you do so, because it's just hands down one of the best simulations that we have available to us right now, and it's free. And for the lady of the hour, the cream of the crop, my favorite that there is to have, it is the TBM 930 improvement mod from Mixmugs. I swear by this thing. I love this thing so much. I love this aircraft. I love the modifications that are done to it. I'm going to bring up the changelog here if you guys want to sort of take a peek. These are just a few of the things that have happened with this aircraft. But again, it is something that takes the TBM 930. So what you're going to want here, if you have the Navigraph Charts, if you have the WorkingTitle G3000 and you have the TBM 930 mod, then what you've got is a few hours of simulation play where you better hope nobody else bothers you, because you're not going to want to get out of your chair. It is absolutely wonderful. It takes the TBM 930, again, brings it very, very close to real world Pilot's Operational Handbook standards. Everything from the flight dynamics to the flight model to the system performance, and then to just some exterior immersion things, doors openings, cargo bays, etc. It is so much fun. This is by far my favorite aircraft to fly. I love the TBM, and I think that we're going to be jumping into it probably in the next video or two, because I miss her, and she misses me, and she gets really crabby with me when I don't fly her for a while. But again, this is another one that I wanted to make sure hit the list. I'm not going to spend too much more time talking about it. I'm telling you right now that if you even think about flying the TBM 930, listen one more time. WorkingTitle's G3000, the Navigraph Charts, not required, but nice to have. And then finally, the TBM 930 improvement mod from Mixmugs. So at the very least, WorkingTitle G3000 and this mod here, and you're going to have yourself a great time in the TBM 930. Last but not least on my list for today is going to be SkyDolly. SkyDolly is a very awesome, very lightweight application that allows you to record your simulation play from Microsoft Flight Simulator. So it's really, really awesome. Let's say you want to record a takeoff. Okay, you're gonna hit the record button on SkyDolly. You're gonna switch back to your simulator. You're gonna complete your takeoff, climb out 1,000 feet, 2,000 feet, whatever. Bring your gears up, all that good jazz. And then you're going to stop the recording on SkyDolly. Hit the play button. It's going to take you back to wherever or take the simulator back to wherever you started that recording. Drop all your gears, flaps, etc. However your aircraft, whatever configuration your aircraft was in when you started. And you'll be or you'll be able to play it. You can replay it, share it with friends. You can save it for later reference. I mean, weeks, months, whatever. You want to click a play button, you just reload the file, and boom, your aircraft's back to where you were. It's really awesome to catch a lot of those exterior screenshots that are a lot of fun to have, or just if you want some really cool replay. The other really good advantage to this kind of software is if there's a specific approach that you're trying to practice. Let's say I don't know, Princess Juliana out at TNCM or at St. Martin, excuse me. You get your aircraft within, I don't know, 3 miles, 5 miles, whatever. You're at that perfect approach altitude, your perfect airspeed, your aircraft's configured. You can record a location there, and then bam, you ever want to practice it again, doesn't matter what aircraft you're in, you hit the play button and boom, you're back in that position. You're ready to continue on with your approach. Makes it really, really nice to practice certain things. Really, really great to if there's a specific part of the world that's really fun for sightseeing, but maybe takes forever to fly to and you don't feel like doing that flight, you can record a location there and save it, and then boom, very quickly teleport to it the next time that you want to fly there. It is a really, really great software, and once again, it is free. Anytime you catch me doing an external replay, I'm using SkyDolly. And it's because as of right now, at the time of making this video, the date of this video, it is the best at what it does, and again, it's free. It's completely free of charge, and at that point, I mean, how do you argue with that? I mean, really. Now, guys, I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this. I want to make it very clear. These add-ons are not all of the add-ons. I could go on and on and on about another 50 more that I would use. If you guys would like to see more of these videos with some of my other add-ons, please let me know down in the comments below. If you want me to continue a series like this, I would be happy to. As far as keeping you guys up to date with what mods I'm currently using, I have a bunch more installed. I have a bunch more aircraft that I use, a few more tools that I use. And so if you guys would like to see those, by all means, let me know down below. Until next time, guys, as always, stay safe and healthy, and I will see you, you know where.